Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from OnlinePhotographyTraining.com. In this episode of Luminar 2018 Tips and Tricks, we're going to take a close look at the color contrast filter. I think the color contrast filter is one of the more powerful filters found in Luminar 2018, but I also think it's one of the more underutilized filters. And I think it's underutilized because many of us don't really understand how it works. Now for this image, I did some raw developed processing already, and I have the color contrast filter loaded and ready to go. Now, it's one of those filters that won't do anything to your image until you move the amount slider. And as soon as you start to move the amount slider, you'll see usually a dramatic change to your image. So most of us probably load this color contrast filter, move the amount slider, then move the hue slider, and you'll see dramatic changes to the image. And hopefully we get lucky and we dial in something we kind of like. Well, most often we are not lucky right off the bat, and we're spending a lot of time moving the sliders around on this filter trying to figure out what it does. Well, to understand what it does, I think will help you better use the filter. And in the world of Luminar, whenever Luminar uses the term color contrast, what they mean is they're taking one color and they're making that color either lighter or darker. And then they're taking another color and they're doing the opposite to that color. So they might take, let's say, the color blue and make it darker. Then we'll take another color, say the color orange, and we'll make that lighter. And that's what they mean by color contrast. And how they determine which color they make darker and which color they make lighter is they use complementary colors, specifically additive complementary colors. And if we look at a standard color wheel, you'll see here that we have a bunch of colors. And as I mentioned, we had blue, that's a primary color, and the complementary color is on the other side of the color wheel, orange. So it would make blue darker and orange brighter, and that's how they determine color contrast. Now you could see on this we have green is opposite red, so we could make maybe red darker and green lighter. Purple and yellow, so you can make purple darker and yellow lighter. So it seems to be very straightforward, but it actually is a little more muddled than that. When you're making, let's say, blue darker and orange brighter, you're not just dealing with those two colors as far as this filter is concerned. Mostly everything that's near the blue on this side of the color wheel will be made darker. So all the different hues of blue, as they approach green, will be getting darker. All the different hues of blue as they approach purple will be getting darker. Similarly, on the other side of the wheel, orange will be getting lighter, as well as all the hues of orange as they approach yellow and as they approach red will be getting brighter. So it actually affects a bigger swath of colors. And the way you could control it is when you're using the filter, if you look down here at the hue slider, you can see it's kind of colorized. And we kind of have red at this far end and kind of a darker, maybe purplish red over here in the far right end. And then we have colors in between. So we're moving from red through yellows and greens to blues to purples, then back to that kind of purplish red. So what this hue slider does is this is the color that you're going to make lighter. So if I want to make the sky lighter, which I really don't, but it's a good demonstration, I could move this hue slider to somewhere over the bluish part of this slider as you look at it. So it kind of is blue in here. So we'll move it over there to blue. Then when I move this amount slider, as you'll see, the blues are getting brighter. So it's making the blues brighter. But again, it's not perfect. So it's going to not just make blues brighter, it's going to start moving over into the shades and hues of colors that approach green and the hues of colors that approach purple. So those will all be getting brighter. Whereas on the other hand, anything that is orange, which there really isn't in this scene, would be getting darker. But we could do that if I move this slider more over orange. The orange will be getting darker, or brighter, I'm sorry. So whatever the slider is over is getting brighter. So I'm over orange. So orange will get brighter, but blues will get darker. And when I move this slider, you can see the blues are getting darker. So that helps you better utilize this filter. You know what you're doing. You could put this hue slider over the color you want to get brighter, knowing that the complementary color to that color will get darker. And then when you kind of get it to where you like it, you could go to this brightness and contrast sliders, and this affects the whole image. So you can make the entire image brighter or darker, and you could increase or decrease contrast on the entire image. It doesn't really favor one complementary color over the other. They really are kind of universal sliders. And actually these sliders also, they won't do anything if amount is at 0. So you can see those don't work either. So you have to really move this amount slider to the right. Make sure your hue slider is over the color that you want brighter, knowing that the complement of that color will be getting darker. And then you could come in and fine tune the entire image with the brightness and contrast slider and get it to your liking. So that's how the color contrast filter works. And again, I think it's a pretty powerful filter, and I think it could do a lot of creative things for you now that you know exactly how it works. I strongly recommend that if you don't already have one, that you download a color wheel from the internet. This is unfortunately not a great one. They have them where it will show all the different hues and not be as abrupt as this, where you could actually see what colors are opposite each other a little better in all those different hues. See if you could find something like that. Then you could better utilize this hue slider and the amount slider to fit your image. That's it for this video. Thank you everyone that watches my videos. I truly do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.